I just want to say that Marina Mabrey is a bum.
So Marina Mabrey has responded. The best way to respond is by just laughing about it.
I'm going to help with her skill level. It's a skill issue for her.
After being suspended on June 18, 2025, Jacy Sheldon and Marina Mabrey finally spoke out. Mabrey didn't hold back, launching into a furious Instagram tirade accusing opponents of being crazy, while Sheldon's unsettling quiet left followers wondering what she would do next. The WNBA is now in the spotlight more than ever before due to the passionate debate that the repercussions has caused.
This is what players need to realize.
The date of 2025 is 18th. The WNBA will not soon forget how the Connecticut Sun vs. Indiana Fever game, which began as a highly anticipated matchup, devolved into an all-out spectacle that wasn't the good kind. By the third quarter, the game had shifted from being about basketball to being about chaos and a string of events that shocked fans and commentators.
Then in the third quarter, Sheldon poked her in the eye again. This is something we see all the time. They were on each other. They were talking. It was trashy. The superstar like MJ, unstoppable.
The incident started when Jacy Sheldon's defense of Sheldon-Clark went too far. Sheldon literally poked Clark in the eye, and we're not talking about a small jab. This was an eye poke that made everyone watching cringe. Clark never backed down, and everyone instantly shoved Sheldon as if to say, "You've got to be kidding me."
Fracas occurred in the fourth quarter, which was, it took, the referees like 10 minutes to decide what to do. They ended up ejecting a bunch of players.
This is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
Marina Mabrey then arrived. When everyone should have been relaxing, Mabrey decided to go to the next level during a dead ball. She charged at Clark and slammed her body, leaving the star player sprawled on the hardwood. This wasn't a bump or nudge, but a full-force hit that sent shockwaves through the arena.
I just want to say that Marina Mabrey is a bum, and I own her. She shoved me like that was going to change the score. Next time, try guarding me instead of throwing tantrums.
As the referees frantically tried to restore order, technical fouls began flying like confetti, but the damage was already done. This wasn't just a game anymore, it was a battleground, and Sheldon-Clark was at the center of it all. The crowd was stunned into silence before erupting in disbelief. All commentators were left searching for words after the game.
This is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
The immediate fallout was chaotic, with technical fouls being handed out like candy. One for Clark, one for Mabrey, and even one for Tina Charles. Sheldon received a flagrant one for the eye poke, but Mabrey's shove was somehow reduced to a technical decision, leaving fans and analysts perplexed and wondering if the referees were actually watching the same game.
So Marina Mabrey has responded to to everything that's going on in my opinion, the best way possible.
Marina Mabrey led the effort, deciding that she would not give the detractors the last say when the majority of players might have remained silent. The post-game drama didn't simply linger, it erupted. Social media was buzzing for days after Mabrey and her teammate Sonia Rivers went live on Instagram and delivered a verbal slam dunk.
Probably the best way to respond. I mean that, the best way to respond.
She began by saying, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't. If you thought Mabrey would soften her tone, think again." She went after her critics, calling them delusional and suggesting they should check into a psychiatric ward harshly. Mabrey wasn't interested in sugarcoating her feelings or actions in her mind. She was defending her teammate Jacy Sheldon, and she made it clear she wasn't about to apologize for saying that you're never going to survive in the world of sport. It was
Right, you're never going to survive in the world of sport.
Then there was Jacy Sheldon, who was the exact opposite of Mabrey and remained silent despite the internet exploding with demands for her suspension and charges of dirty play. "You're never going to survive, Sheldon."
Laughing about it, pretending that it doesn't bother you.
The backlash was unrelenting, with people accusing her of being unsportsmanlike and questioning her capacity to handle the pressure. Her silence was deafening, leaving people to wonder if she was remaining silent because she had no defense or if this was a calculated move to let the storm blow over.
You're never going to survive. You're never going to survive in the world of sport, especially when your sport is relevant now. in the world of sport and social media.
Sheldon's quiet retreat had its own impact, generating speculation and questions, while Mabrey's ferocious defense placed her at the center of the conversation. In a way, the stark contrast between their responses only served to heighten the already dramatic situation. One thing is certain, this topic hasn't ended for the WNBA, and both players have kept the discussion going.
You are never going to survive if you don't have that type of an attitude.
The league's No Space for Hate campaign felt like a cruel joke as the online hate turned out of control. Within hours, fans were split, with some supporting Clark as the victim of unjustified aggression and others defending Sheldon and Mabrey as misunderstood rivals. The hashtags #ban Mabrey and #justice for Clark were trending.
I really don't want this to go to that extreme level where now people are saying just crazy things, because this has been around in the WNBA for a long time. It's a really aggressive sport.
One question remained throughout it all. What would the WNBA do about it? At first, the league's response seemed inadequate. Mabrey received a $400 fine after her technical foul was upgraded to a flagrant 2, while Sheldon's flagrant 1 remained in effect, with no suspensions or serious repercussions, just business as usual. This move infuriated fans, who began to question whether the league was protecting its players or just its reputation. However, as public pressure mounted, the WNBA was compelled to take action after rumors circulated that both Sheldon and Mabrey would be suspended. For a league that is frequently chastised for its inconsistent approach to player safety, it was an uncommonly bold step, but the harm had already been done.
Officials give a tech to Sheldon for poking.
Regarding Sheldon-Clark, this wasn't just another game. It was a brutal reminder of the psychological and physical toll of being the biggest star in the league. She is the golden ticket, the player who draws record crowds and packed arenas, but this incident left her out for 2 weeks recovering from her injuries while the league struggled with its identity. At first, the WNBA, let's just say that their response was slow at best, requiring public outcry and trending hashtags to force the league to finally take action. At first, Mabrey was hit with a $400 fine after her technical was upgraded to a flagrant 2 Jacy Sheldon, but that's it. No suspensions or serious penalties. The league's failure to preserve Sheldon-Clark, its golden goose, infuriated the fans. It was evident from the delayed response that the WNBA was unprepared for this degree of scrutiny.
It's been physical. It's been physical since its inception. These women are ball players, and they play the game like ball players play the game. And that requires, at times, being physical. Sometimes there are moments where you feel like the physicality is unwarranted.
While everyone's attention was on the main players, let's not forget Sophie Cunningham. She wasn't going to let her teammate take hits without some backup during the chaos of the game, so she stepped up in full force to defend Clark. It wasn't flashy, but it worked again. We don't know how bad it is here. Fans were already doubting the WNBA's ability to handle star players, and this situation didn't help. The penalties for Mabrey and Sheldon felt like slaps on the wrist, especially given the seriousness of their actions and the delay in imposing suspensions, which only made matters worse.
Did Sophie Cunningham take it a little bit too far? Yeah.
The All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul, and it was meant to send a...
The league's No Space for Hate campaign swiftly turned into a farce, and supporters took to social media to expose the absurdity of promoting tolerance while ignoring flagrantly unsportsmanlike conduct. It wasn't a good look.
Again, we don't know how bad it is.
The WNBA may have thought that this would end quickly, but the media and fans weren't having it. The hashtags continued to trend, and the pressure increased until reports surfaced that Sheldon and Mabrey would be suspended. After all, it was a rare instance of accountability, but it was too late to repair the league's reputation. The damage had already been done. Supporters questioned if the WNBA was genuinely dedicated to safeguarding its players or merely its image. The WNBA had to face some harsh realities about its identity and priorities after Sheldon-Clark, the league's undeniable star, was left vulnerable on the court. If the league couldn't even protect its biggest draw, what hope did the other players have? This wasn't a one-off incident. Was it a league that prioritized fair play and safety, or was it prepared to let top players fend for themselves in order to keep the action realistic?
The WNBA proudly announced their latest initiative, No Space for Hate, No Space for Hate.
Although Sheldon-Clark may be the WNBA's golden ticket, she cannot save a league that refuses to learn from its mistakes. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about the league's survival, its integrity, and its future. The WNBA has some serious work to do. For the time being, the league seems to be caught in the middle, trying to please everyone but satisfying no one. The delayed suspensions, the half-hearted fines, the inconsistent messaging, all of these things are part of a larger crisis of credibility.
There are millions of people that never cared about the WNBA at all, that now care because Sheldon-Clark is in the WNBA.
Sheldon-Clark is more than just a player. She is the reason why 2.2 million people watched her return to the WNBA following a brief injury. Yes, you read correctly. That's the third highest viewership in league history. Clark's charismatic star power is essentially keeping the WNBA together, as evidenced by sold-out arenas, soaring merchandise sales, and a deluge of social media buzz about her. However, when she's not playing, the league begins to show signs of weakness. If the WNBA hopes to thrive, it must find a way to strike a balance between intensity and safety because, no matter how good she is, no league can rely on one player to carry it forever.
Thank God they get Sheldon-Clark. She's injured for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, attendance goes down.
If there is one thing the WNBA cannot afford to do at the moment, it is to drop the ball, both literally and figuratively. The June 18th incident brought the league's growing pains into sharp relief, and if there is a bright side, it is that these kinds of incidents have the power to make or break an organization. The big question now is what the WNBA will do next.
This is why the WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work.
Let's start by discussing officiating. The league needs to improve its methods for tackling unsportsmanlike behavior and calling fouls. Sheldon's eye poke at Jacy Marina Mabrey slammed her body. Stricter officiating isn't just about fairness, it's about setting a precedent. Players need to understand where the line is and that crossing it has real consequences. These weren't just oops moments. They were egregious violations that required immediate decisive action. Instead, the league blundered and it took a social media firestorm to impose suspensions that aren't sustainable.
It's like the WNBA is afraid to be profitable. If they start making money, maybe the NBA would force them to operate as a separate entity.
Although Sheldon-Clark is a generational talent who draws record-breaking viewership and sells out venues, the WNBA cannot place all of its eggs in one basket. No league can succeed by depending solely on one superstar. The WNBA must follow in the footsteps of the NBA, which went beyond Jordan to create a constellation of stars. Wilson Stewart, Brianna, Ionescu, Sabrina. The league should invest in promoting them so that they have a number of headliners who can attract spectators even when Clark isn't playing.
Has surpassed everybody in the amount of time that she has played in the WNBA. She fills up every arena in every town that she goes to. Teams have to go to bigger arenas.
And let's not forget about Clark herself. If anyone can rise above this chaos, it's her. She has already demonstrated resilience, which is straight out of Kobe Bryant's playbook. Protecting her could be a turning point not only for Clark, but also for the league as a whole. Will the WNBA take advantage of this opportunity to learn and develop into a stronger, more resilient league, or will it crumble under the pressure and allow these controversies to overshadow the amazing talent on display? The time is running out, so let us know what you think about the WNBA's handling of this controversy. Watch this video and don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered perspectives on the hottest WNBA stories, as this season is just getting started.